So one of the really cool things about living in Colorado Springs is that you have so many different options as far as places to live. Today I am in the Black Forest neighborhood. I'm specifically at the Black Forest Regional Park, which is a park that belongs to El Paso County right off of Shoup Road. There's a little bit of traffic noise behind me, but wanted to talk a little bit more about this area. So if you're looking for a great place to move to, Black Forest is just northeast of Colorado Springs, Colorado, and you are surrounded by nothing but trees. It is so nice out here. There's just a very country feel, but it's like country meets luxury. My name is Iris. I'm a real estate agent here in Colorado Springs, and I help people relocate to the area all the time, always answering your questions and helping you guys find the best place to live so that you can find your dream home in Colorado. As always, you can reach out to me for your relocation needs. If you're looking to buy a house in the area, just feel free to reach out to me. I'll leave my number and my contact information on the screen and in the description box of this video. So there's a lot of homes that you can buy that are luxurious and in the $1 million range, but then there's also some other houses that might be a little bit older, but you can get all of that land along with it. So if you wanted to buy some horses, if you wanted to have some chickens and goats and things like that, you just want to double check with the HOA. A lot of the HOA in this area is actually pretty old and not super overdone like in some of the residential communities, because these houses are spread out so much, don't have a lot of restrictions and tons of regulation with what you can do with your property. So that's kind of one of the cooler things about living out here in Black Forest. Now there are a lot of trees, and with that coupled with the dry weather, oftentimes you're going to have a higher premium for insurance because this place has had fires in the past. It's definitely an issue, and you can see some of the fire danger alerts as you come in and out of the neighborhood here. So anytime you have a high alert for fire danger, you want to be extra careful to notice those dates, because anything can trigger, you know, just driving through some dry grass, open fire pits and things like that. You want to be extra careful. You always want to be careful, but it'll tell you like fire danger low or fire danger high. If it's super windy, then you probably don't want to be having a fire pit in the backyard and around that time. So just being aware of those kinds of things. But with all of those trees, you want to make sure that your house is set up so that the trees aren't too close to the house. That way, if you know something were to happen, maybe trim. A lot of the people in this area will trim one side of the tree, you know, cut off all the dead branches and make sure that there's a good space between the trees and your property, and just having the mitigation done properly. So I'll leave a link for that below on just some tips on making sure that your house is well protected and cared for, you know, God forbid anything happens. Now, it's not something that happens often, but we have had a fire here and a lot of people went through some horrible things. So just something to be very aware of. But if you're looking for that luxury lifestyle with the trees, and you do have some shopping, so you have to go to town, and I would say maybe about 10 to 20 minutes depending on traffic and weather. You do have groceries and things like that. Now this area is perfect for hiking, for biking, even if you want to have a little picnic out here. There are a bunch of tables, picnic tables, that you can come out and just have lunch, maybe go on a hike, and then just come down and have lunch in one of these areas. There are just so many great neighborhoods that you can really enjoy. You have Cathedral Pines close by. That is a great luxury neighborhood with all the trees and wildlife. Super fun area to be. So, I mean, you can hear the birds in the background. It's just like, if you're into nature and you just love living in that nature environment, you'll hear the birds. There are some bears that would come out in this area from time to time. You might see some deer, a lot of deer, wildlife, especially late at night, super early in the morning. You kind of have that mountain country feel with the city just being minutes away. So it's the best of both worlds, in my opinion. So I am in front of a busy road, so that is one of the concerns about the residents here, is that they only have this one road coming in and out of Black Forest. So as long as that doesn't get too busy, like during traffic hours, traffic could be a problem, not having that infrastructure in place for people to get in and out. So out here you can have horses, and you just need to have, I believe it's 2 acres for your horse. So if you're going to have a 5-acre property, you can have 2 horses. So just keep that in mind. If you do have animals, just make sure you're following those regulations and looking those up on the county site, which I have on my website. So that will be linked below. All those resources for you will be on my website. So as you can see, there are a ton of trees and there's a ton of property that you can purchase, and there are a lot of homes for sale in this area. This is actually one of the best neighborhoods to move to because it's growing so quickly. There are a lot of homes available. The value of this area has gone up significantly and is still holding strong when it comes to land value and the neighborhood value. So that is a really great thing about living in Black Forest, is that it's very likely that you'll hold the resale value, but I honestly don't see people moving away from this area because it's just great to just have, you know, that privacy that you don't really get in the city and in the residential areas. So if you're going to buy a house and you want mountain views, you're going to want to choose a house that is either facing or backing to the mountains. That way, if you go out on your back deck, you can have the mountain views in your backyard, or if you go out in the front of the house, then you'll have the mountain views on the front of the house. Keep in mind though, the snow is going to melt better when the house is facing south because the way the sun comes up. It's so interesting that all the houses that are not facing south, they have all this ice and snow that takes forever to melt. So just something to keep in mind. Not that every house has to check all these boxes, but my house, the front door faces south, which is nice because then you don't have to clean the driveway as much. And then my neighbors on the other side, they have to, like, you know, do the whole salt thing to get the snow and ice out of the driveway. So oftentimes we'll wake up and by the time the sun comes out, the snow has already melted. So that's kind of nice, not having to shovel the driveway. Now, one other thing is that since this area is northeast, it's going to get a lot of snow and it's going to have a lot of amazing views and kind of just like that winter wonderland feel in the wintertime. It's incredible, I promise you. The roads are pretty well kept out here, so you don't have to worry too much. It's not like you're gonna have to get an extra pair of snow tires. I have all-weather tires and I get around pretty easily. But if you have a car that is sitting low to the ground, you might want to think about how you're gonna navigate coming in and out of the area, because when it does snow, if you get a couple feet, you could get stuck in the snow. I've gotten stuck in the snow with my little Stratus back in the day and it rode pretty low to the ground. But the views are seriously gonna be something out of a Hallmark movie. So I think that you'll definitely love it, especially if you love Hallmark movies and you love those, you know, Christmas, Colorado Christmas type of movies. So anyway, if you have any questions, always feel free to reach out, email me, text me, call me, and I would love to help you relocate to the area. And I'll see you next week.